Have you ever watched a cutting rot before it could root? It happens to so many gardeners who rely on store-bought products or use nothing at all. After 3 decades of propagating plants, I've learned that homemade rooting hormones can work just as well, sometimes better. Today, I'm sharing 8 powerful recipes you can make at home. Number 6 surprised even me, and the bonus tip at the end could change how you propagate forever. The first homemade rooting hormone we need to talk about is willow water. This is one of the most credible DIY options because willow branches naturally contain compounds that stimulate root growth. Scientists have identified indolebutyric acid and salicylic acid in willow tissue, which are the same types of compounds found in commercial rooting products. To make willow water, collect young twigs from any willow tree. Salix discolor, commonly called pussy willow, works beautifully. So does weeping willow, known as Salix babylonica. The key is using fresh, green growth rather than old woody branches, because young stems have the highest concentration of rooting compounds. Cut your willow twigs into pieces about 1 to 2 inches long. You'll need roughly 2 cups of these small pieces. Place them in a container and cover with boiling water. Let the mixture steep for 24 to 48 hours. Some gardeners prefer to let it sit even longer, up to a week, for a stronger solution. Once your willow water is ready, strain out the twigs and store the liquid in a sealed jar. It will keep in the refrigerator for about 2 months. To use it, simply soak the cut end of your cuttings in the willow water for several hours or overnight before planting. This method works across all USDA zones because you're making the solution indoors. It's particularly effective on softwood cuttings and many houseplants. The natural compounds encourage root cell development, while the salicylic acid helps protect against disease. Many propagators consider this the gold standard of homemade rooting aids. The second powerful recipe on our list is kelp, or seaweed extract root dip. Seaweed has been used in agriculture for centuries, and modern research confirms why it works so well. These ocean plants contain natural growth regulators, including small amounts of auxins that support root development and help cuttings establish faster. The best seaweed extracts come from a species called Ascophyllum nodosum. You can find liquid seaweed concentrate at most garden centers, or you can make your own from dried kelp meal. If you're using a commercial liquid, dilute it according to the package directions, usually about 1 tablespoon per gallon of water. For kelp meal, steep a 1/4 cup in a gallon of warm water overnight to create a tea. What makes seaweed special is that it works as a biostimulant. This means it doesn't just provide nutrients, it actually signals the plant to grow more vigorously. Research from Washington State University found that seaweed extracts can improve rooting and transplant establishment in a variety of plants. To use your kelp dip, submerge the cut end of your cuttings for 30 minutes to several hours. You can also combine it with other methods on this list for even better results. Some gardeners soak their cuttings in willow water first, then give them a kelp dip before planting. This recipe works in every USDA zone since you're preparing it indoors. It's especially helpful for cuttings that tend to struggle, like woody shrubs or slow-rooting perennials. The trace minerals in seaweed also give young roots a nutritional boost once they begin to form. Keep any unused solution in the refrigerator for up to a month. The third homemade rooting hormone worth trying is coconut water. This might sound unusual, but coconut water contains natural plant growth regulators that scientists have studied for decades. It's particularly rich in cytokinins, which are hormones that promote cell division. When you're trying to get a cutting to produce new root cells, that's exactly what you need. For the best results, use unsweetened coconut water from young green coconuts. You can find this in the beverage aisle of most grocery stores. Avoid coconut milk or sweetened varieties, as these contain added ingredients that won't help your cuttings. Pure coconut water is what you're looking for. The preparation couldn't be simpler. Pour the coconut water into a clean container and place your cuttings directly into it. Let them soak for 1 to 4 hours before transferring them to your rooting medium. Some propagators dilute the coconut water with an equal part of plain water, though using it at full strength is also effective. Research published in pharmaceutical and agricultural journals has documented the growth-promoting properties of coconut water. Tissue culture laboratories have used it for years to encourage plant development. Home gardeners can tap into the same science without expensive equipment. This method works beautifully on tropical houseplants, which makes sense given that coconut is a tropical plant itself. Pothos, philodendrons, and monsteras respond particularly well. But don't limit yourself to tropicals. Gardeners in every USDA zone have reported success using coconut water on a wide range of softwood cuttings. One bottle from the store can treat dozens of cuttings, making this an affordable option for anyone who propagates regularly. Now, if you're finding this video helpful so far, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps this video reach more gardeners like yourself who would also find this information helpful. Alright, let's continue. The fourth recipe that deserves your attention is aloe vera gel rooting dip. If you've ever used aloe on a sunburn, you already know this plant has remarkable healing properties. Those same qualities can help your cuttings develop roots while staying healthy during the vulnerable early days of propagation. Fresh aloe vera gel creates a protective coating on the cut end that seals in moisture and guards against pathogens. To make this dip, slice open a fresh aloe leaf from an Aloe barbadensis Miller plant, which is the common aloe vera you'll find at nurseries or even grocery stores. Scoop out the clear gel inside and place it in a small dish. You can use it straight from the leaf or blend it into a smoother consistency if you prefer. Simply dip the cut end of your cutting into the gel, coating the bottom inch or so, then plant it directly into your rooting medium. Research published on ResearchGate has shown that aloe vera gel can improve rooting compared with untreated cuttings. The gel contains natural compounds that support cell growth and may offer mild hormonal benefits as well. What gardeners appreciate most is how it keeps the cut end from drying out or developing rot. This method shines with softwood cuttings and houseplants. African violets, begonias, and succulents all respond well to aloe treatment. If you grow your own aloe plant, you'll have a continuous supply of rooting gel at no cost. One mature aloe can provide enough gel for hundreds of cuttings throughout the year. Store any extra gel in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. This gentle, natural approach works in all USDA zones and suits gardeners who prefer avoiding synthetic products entirely. The fifth homemade option on our list is Honey Dip Rooting Aid. Honey has been used as a natural preservative and wound treatment for thousands of years, and those same antimicrobial properties make it useful in propagation. While honey isn't a true rooting hormone, it serves an important protective function that can increase your success rate with cuttings that are prone to rot. Raw honey works best for this purpose. Some gardeners prefer Manuka honey because of its stronger antibacterial qualities, but any raw, unprocessed honey from your local store or farmer's market will do the job. The natural sugars and enzymes in raw honey create an environment where harmful bacteria and fungi struggle to survive. To use honey as a rooting aid, simply dip the freshly cut end of your cutting into the honey. Coat the bottom half-inch to inch of the stem. The honey forms a seal over the cut tissue, protecting it from pathogens, while the cutting focuses its energy on producing roots. This method works best on plants that root easily on their own. Herbs like rosemary, sage, and mint respond well, as do many common houseplants. Research from the University of New Hampshire Extension notes that honey's benefits come primarily from reducing rot rather than stimulating root growth directly. Think of it as an insurance policy for your cuttings. Honey is gentle enough to use on delicate stems without causing damage, and it won't burn tender plant tissue the way some commercial products might. For the best results, take your cuttings in the morning when they're fully hydrated, make a clean cut just below a node, and apply the honey immediately. This simple kitchen ingredient has helped countless gardeners save cuttings that might otherwise have failed. The sixth powerful recipe is cinnamon powder cut end treatment. This common kitchen spice has earned a devoted following among propagators, and for good reason. While cinnamon doesn't contain rooting hormones, it offers something equally valuable in humid propagation environments: powerful antifungal protection. Fungal rot at the cut end is one of the main reasons cuttings fail, and cinnamon addresses that problem directly. Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes labeled as true cinnamon or Cinnamomum verum, is the preferred choice. It's milder and considered higher quality than cassia cinnamon, which is what most grocery stores sell. Either will work, but Ceylon cinnamon is gentler on plant tissue if you can find it. The application method is wonderfully simple. Take your fresh cutting and dip the moist cut end directly into dry cinnamon powder. Tap off any excess so you have a light coating rather than a thick clump. The cinnamon clings to the damp stem and begins working immediately to suppress fungal growth. Plant your cutting as usual in your preferred rooting medium. The University of New Hampshire Extension recommends cinnamon as a natural antifungal for propagation, noting its effectiveness at keeping the cut end healthy during the critical rooting period. Gardeners who propagate in covered containers or humidity domes find cinnamon especially helpful because those moist conditions can encourage fungal problems. This treatment works across all USDA zones and suits virtually any type of cutting. It's particularly popular for succulents, which are highly susceptible to rot. Many experienced propagators combine cinnamon with another method from this list. You might soak your cuttings in willow water first, then dust them with cinnamon before planting. The cost is pennies per cutting, and most kitchens already have a jar on hand. The seventh recipe to consider is aspirin water soak. This one comes with an important caveat. Aspirin is not a replacement for true rooting hormones, but it can play a supporting role in your propagation routine. The active ingredient in aspirin, acetyl salicylic acid, breaks down into salicylic acid when dissolved in water. Salicylic acid is a compound that plants naturally produce when they're under stress, and it triggers defensive responses that can help them survive challenging conditions. Use plain, uncoated aspirin tablets for this recipe. Coated or buffered varieties may contain additional ingredients that aren't helpful for plants. Dissolve 1 regular-strength aspirin tablet in 1 gallon of water. Stir until it fully dissolves, which may take a few minutes. This creates a mild solution that won't damage tender cutting tissue. Soak your cuttings in the aspirin water for 1 to several hours before planting. The idea behind this method is that the salicylic acid signals the cutting to activate its stress response systems, which may help it fight off disease and establish itself in the rooting medium. Research published in scientific journals has documented how salicylic acid signaling supports disease resistance in plants. However, this doesn't directly stimulate root growth the way auxin-based products do. Think of aspirin water as a supplement rather than a standalone solution. Many gardeners use it in combination with a more direct rooting method. You might soak your cuttings in aspirin water first, then dip them in willow water or aloe gel before planting. This layered approach gives your cuttings multiple forms of support. Aspirin water is inexpensive and easy to prepare, making it a low-risk addition to your propagation toolkit regardless of which USDA zone you garden in. The eighth and final homemade rooting recipe is apple cider vinegar dilute dip. I want to be upfront with you about this one. The evidence for vinegar as a rooting aid is mostly anecdotal, and there's real risk involved if you get the concentration wrong. Too much acidity will damage or kill your cuttings rather than help them. That said, some gardeners swear by this method, so it's worth understanding how to try it safely if you choose to experiment. Raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar is the type to use. Look for a brand that still contains the mother culture, which appears as cloudy strands in the bottle. The theory is that the mild acidity and trace compounds might stimulate root development, though this hasn't been proven in controlled research. Dilution is absolutely critical. Most gardeners who try this method use a ratio of 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar per gallon of water. Some go even more dilute with just half a teaspoon per gallon. Never dip cuttings in straight vinegar or even a strong solution. The acidity will burn the plant tissue and ruin your cutting within minutes. Gardening. No Huw suggests treating this as a low priority. Try if you want option rather than a reliable method. If you decide to experiment, start with your easiest rooting plants, things like pothos, mint, or coleus, that root readily in plain water. This way, you can observe whether the vinegar dip makes any noticeable difference without risking valuable or difficult cuttings. Keep your expectations modest and always err on the side of a weaker solution. This method sits at the bottom of our list because it carries more risk and less proven benefit than the other options we've covered. And now for the bonus tip gardeners swear by. When you're working with woody or semi-hardwood cuttings that struggle to root, try the wounding technique before applying any of these homemade hormones. Use a clean knife or razor blade to make 2 or 3 shallow vertical scrapes along the bottom inch of your cutting, just deep enough to expose the green layer beneath the bark. This is called the cambium layer, and it's where new root cells originate. By creating these small wounds, you dramatically increase the surface area where roots can emerge. You also allow your homemade rooting hormone to penetrate deeper into the stem tissue, where it can do the most good. Professional propagators have used this method for generations on difficult-to-root shrubs and trees. Roses, hydrangeas, and fruit tree cuttings all benefit from wounding before treatment. Combine this simple technique with willow water or aloe gel, and you'll see rooting success on cuttings that might have failed with dipping alone. It takes just seconds, but can make all the difference. Thanks for sticking with me through the entire video. If you found this helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more gardening tips, and check out our other videos on growing a better garden.